Good to see you all. And it's sunny, that makes a difference. It's slightly thin on the ground. And you've already met George, and of course everyone knows Rumpole. So they need no introduction, and they're going to play for you this afternoon if you want backing. Ladies and gentlemen, Rumpole and George. Got to give them a good clap, otherwise when I play they might mess me up. I've had a few problems that I don't want to bore you with, but I'm unable to sing at the moment, and I'm hoping to be told on Wednesday at the hospital that you can go back to singing. So, yeah, you'll be pleased to know I won't be singing today, I'm only going to play a little bit. You're pleased, really, no, you're pleased. Although we're thin on the ground, and I'm always hearing John Croft have a go at me, we hate each other, that's why. Ladies and gentlemen, I've noticed one or two faces today that are new to me and probably new to everybody else. So, would you very kindly, if you've never been before, put up your hands now? Oh my God, it's a percentage, yes. Welcome to all the members and the And there's just one thing you have to do, whether you play today or not, make sure you come next year, but have another meeting. Sorry. No, I hope you enjoy it, and it's always lovely to see people coming back. It looks a little thin, I'm not quite sure why it is, but that can happen. They may not all be playing in another ukulele convention, we hope not. Now I have to try and remember to say all the things at the right time, excuse me, without being boring, so I must mention, because it can get missed, that those of us who were here earlier had a very nice lunch, provided by Anne and Michelle. Thank you, Anne and Michelle. Right, well I don't want to go on too long boring, but I don't have any apologies from anybody. I haven't had phone calls to say can't come, so I needn't go into any of that. But what I have to mention is that sadly our president, Malcolm Atkins, died a little earlier on, and it comes to all of us, and he was president after the late great Billy Hope Scott died, and he used to be here as often as possible. And towards the end of his life, I think he used to have somebody bring him in the car, and he used to stand down there and sing and play. And those of you that know what I mean, he really was a very fine player. When he ran can't remember if it was a pub or an inn, doesn't matter, I never went to it, but he used to, I think, play in the evenings to the clientele, which would have been a lot better than listening to a disco. Anyway, the reason I'm mentioning this is son Kevin Atkins is here today, and he wants to say a few words to you before we start the music. Kevin.
Hey. Hopefully I'll project well from down here. That's where my dad used to enjoy standing, but as you probably know, from the West Country like Dad was. But yeah, Kevin Atkins, Malcolm's son. Lucky for you today, I'm not going to play the ukulele, and even luckier is that I'm not going to try and sing. Dad was a very proud member of the Ukulele Society of Great Britain, and also was extremely proud to be your president. He started playing the ukulele in 1973. There was a sort of false start for a couple of months where he tried the 5-string banjo, and the purpose was that, as Ray said, yeah, we lived in a pub, and I was only 12 then, but we got into a pub, and he had very boring times in the morning, which he had to try and fill. A couple of months with a 5-string banjo, which just didn't work out, with a guy called Horace Craddy, who was a sort of impresario in the 1930s with the Craddy brothers. And Horace realised that the 5-string banjo was not the right answer, and that perhaps the uke banjo was a good solution. And he knew a very good teacher in Bristol called Jack Toogood, who I think is fairly well known to a lot of members. So Dad started with Jack Toogood. In the very early days, it afforded him also to meet, and sort of many occasions, Richard Shellard. Basically, the more significant thing for yourselves was that Jack, in the early days, also gave Dad something called a syncopator, which obviously Dad took home and read really well, and he also realised that there was obviously in those days, embryonically, the Ukulele Society of Great Britain. So he was very much hooked from the start. One of the ironies was that he nearly didn't make the first meeting because he was very excited, I think, in those days to get to Bromley, and he left with a mum, and about sort of 20 minutes later they were back. And basically he was so excited to try and get to Bromley that he actually pulled into the path of another car, which had obviously left the sort of wing and bumper and everything hanging off. So they had to come back and get into a new car. But sure enough, he was always very anxious to get to all the meetings, and until unfortunately his sort of ill health at the end of his life sort of came for about 40 so years, and obviously, as I say, we're exceptionally proud that you made him president. So I know you've got a concert. I won't take up any more time. I just want to do two things. The first one is a genuine thank you to all of you for obviously having him as your president, which he was very proud of, as I said. And secondly, on behalf of what I believe would be Dad and certainly the Atkins family, would wish Dad's successors as president and vice president, Malcolm and Andy, who I know is not here today, every success, and hope they enjoy it as much as Dad did. Thank you very much indeed.